Money Radio, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Joining us now, Laura Bramnick from TalkRealEstateAZ.com. TalkRealEstateAZ.com. Laura is an attorney. She is also a real estate agent. She's also a consumer advocate, and she represents people in residential and commercial real estate transactions, land transactions as well. Laura holds an active Arizona real estate license. She's been a real estate investor, worked in the industry, a certified instructor with the Arizona Department of Real Estate, and she is also an attorney licensed through the State Bar of Arizona, specializing in real estate. So you've really got real estate covered: buying, selling, transactions, negotiations, clearing up those problems.
Yeah, there can be a lot of problems with real estate, and that sometimes they can be hard to understand.
Yeah, but it's such an important purchase for most people.
Yeah, important, and usually one of the biggest, if not the biggest, purchases of their lifetime, you know.
Laura's phone number, 480-624-2705, 480-624-2705. I mentioned TalkRealEstateAZ.com. That's the website. A lot of good information and contact information there as well. TalkRealEstateAZ.com. Laura, I recently heard a phrase, wasn't completely clear on it, and hope that you can provide some detail. Quiet title.
Yes, that has to do with if there's a flaw or a potential flaw in your title, meaning that there may be a lien against the property that you think shouldn't be there, that you want to get removed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have a neighbor that feels that you're not on your property line. You know, that what you say your property is different than what they say your property is.
Yeah, property line disputes, some encroachment issues.
Yes, that's pretty common. Also, it's not uncommon to have people forge deeds, especially, let's say, in a messy divorce, or a sibling or whatever, or sometimes in business where somebody would say that they own the property outright and deed it to someone else when you in fact have an interest. But the most common are liens that have been paid off where the proper documents haven't been recorded, the release hasn't been recorded.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and also the other most common thing that I see is when there's heirs that inherit property, but they inherit it by intestate succession, meaning that there was no will, no trust, and maybe that was all that was in the person who died, that's all they owned, that was of really any value. So people think, well, I don't have to do anything, you know, I'm just going to take care of the property, live in the property. When I go to sell it, I can just sign the deed. That doesn't happen that way. You have to have certain documents to show that you're the rightful owner.
Now I'm thinking of a circumstance where maybe there's a mechanic's lien from 10 years ago. Somebody did some AC work on the building, and now that guy is retired and who knows where he is.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing, you know, it's interesting because people don't have problems putting a lien on, but it's much more common to see that they don't realize they have to take it off.
He got paid, let's say, but he didn't actually record that with the county recorder.
Right.
And who's got paperwork on any of that anymore?
And sometimes people record it in the wrong place and it doesn't show up.
Yeah.
You know, so I've seen clients do that a lot where they try to record it themselves. So anyway, usually it comes up when you go to buy or sell and it's in the title report. You get a title commitment which shows the details of what liens or what flaws are in the title on your property, you know. And so then they'll either advise you how to get it fixed or tell you that you have to file a quiet title action, which is actually a lawsuit. Now, when you have an old lien that hasn't been discharged, even though you have to file a lawsuit, usually nobody's going to respond. So you can get your judgment by default. You still have to have a court hearing, but it's pretty brief. And as long as you have all the documents showing that you paid off that lien, it's usually not a problem.
Aren't there sometimes problems as well? We've talked about when property is sold through foreclosure.
Yes, there can be liens on the property when it's sold through foreclosure. Now, most liens get wiped out, but there definitely can be flaws on the title when it's sold through foreclosure. And so, if that's the case, because what you thought what you actually purchased may not be what you thought you purchased. You know,
Okay.
there can be, the parcels can be divided up, and what was originally mortgaged may not be what you originally thought you bought. You know, maybe what was mortgaged there maybe was an encroachment. That property encroached on a parcel next to it, but that wasn't in the mortgage for
So-
whatever reason.
Typically, if you're thinking of selling your property, you do want to do a title search. If you're buying, you absolutely have to do a title search.
If you're buying and have a loan, you do. If you're paying cash, you don't have to.
But boy, I
But-
think you'd want to.
You know, it's not wise to buy or sell property without a title search.
And get title insurance as
Get to-
well.
Exactly, because if somebody makes a claim and your title company insures you, they'll pay for the claim if it's a valid claim.
Okay.
In most instances, there are exceptions, because if you knew about it and didn't disclose it, or if there was some fraud involved, they won't pay the claim. But in most cases, they will, and that's why you need title insurance, especially if you don't have a good history on the property. You know, if there was heirs that died and didn't leave a will, and, you know, maybe, and it's been several generations kind of thing, so you can't find them.
Right.
Sometimes the title company will say, this is so remote that we'll insure the property, even though there's potential flaws, because they realize that the chances of those coming to fruition are slim to none. But at other times, the title company will say, I'm not going to insure the title until you get a court order saying that you have clear title.
It's an important issue because that's your proof of ownership right there.
Yeah, and even if you buy the property without title insurance, the problem is, if you go to sell it, you have much fewer buyers who will
Sure.
buy it without previous title insurance, because they know that they're vulnerable.
Wow. Laura Bramnick from TalkRealEstateAZ.com. It's important to get this right.
It is important to get it right.
And this is what you do, is help people get it right when it comes to real estate. TalkRealEstateAZ.com. That's the website. The phone number, 480-624-2705, 480-624-2705. And whether it's a quiet title or some other issue related to real estate, you can quietly call Laura Bramnick at 480-624-2705 and visit the website TalkRealEstateAZ.com. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Sinclair.